podcast will go over for loops. I used to have a video that did for loops a little differently, and it confused some people, so I decided to make a new one. The old one might still be there. I'll probably delete it at some point, but basically it did a for loop at the command line. And that was confusing to some people. So here we go. Here's a for loop inside a script. I've used the VI editor to start a file called for.sh, and I've typed some things into it. So if we look at what I have typed, basically in my mind there are three different components of writing a script that has a for loop. First off, you need a list of things that you want the for loop to operate on. Then you need the for loop. And then you may or may not want to do something after the loop. So I have a section at the bottom that says, need to do something after the loop, do it here. So if we look at my script up here at the top, I have a variable called some list of things. And in this list of things, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. Then I have my for loop, which the syntax for loop is you have the word for, and then you have some temporary variable, then you have the word in, and then you have your list of things. You have do at the beginning, you have done at the end, and in between the do and the done, you do all the stuff you want to do for each loop through each time through the for loop. So basically for this list of things, we will assign them to the temporary variable one at a time, and then we will operate inside this do to done section doing these things for the temp variable. So in this case, we're going to go through this list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, right? And we're just going to echo it. So the first time through the list, it'll echo 1. The second time through the list, through the for loop, it'll echo 2. The third time through the for loop, it'll echo 3. The fourth time through the for loop, it'll echo 4. And the fifth time through the for loop, it will echo 10. So that is the get a list, the for loop. And then at the end, if you need to do something else, you do it after the for loop. So down here, I will echo something just so we can see it. The loop is done. All right, so let's go ahead and run that just so we can see what it does. So there we go. Just like I said, we go through the loop. The list of things was 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, and then I printed out the loop was done after the loop was done. So that's not a very exciting thing to do. That's a static list, not very exciting. So where this gets more exciting is when you set the list of things to something useful. And there's a couple different ways you can get something in the list of things. One way is you can run a command. I know we've already talked about the backticks, right? If we put something inside backticks, like cat, not cat, yeah, cat, doing a cat, yeah, cat, we'll look at the password file. We'll cat the password file, right? It's all our list of user IDs. So sometimes you say you want to be doing something for each user on the system. You can do cat, etsy password, and then your for loop will loop through that. So let's see what it does this time with new input. There we go. So there we got every entry from the password file, and it printed them all out, and it printed loop is done when it's done. So that's that's one way you can get input. Another way you can get input is by asking the user a question and then reading their answer. So I could say, what is your favorite, no wait, list your 3 favorite foods. And then instead of having a command for some list of things, I could read some list of things because, right, remember reads in user input. And now my for loop will operate on that user input, and I'll put some words around here, I'll put some words around this just to make it more clear. We can do other things other than just print what's inside the variable. So now in theory, if I run this command, it should list your 3 favorite foods. I like pizza. I like, what else do I like? Steak. And I like burritos. So now the for loop just basically runs through and prints, you like to eat pizza, you like to eat steak, you like to eat burritos. Fantastic. So that's basically the syntax of the for loop. You get a list of things, you go through the for loop on your list, and then you do whatever you want. In this case, we're just echoing. We could also run other commands. Like if I go back to this, instead of getting favorite foods, I could say enter user IDs, right? And then I could, instead of echo, I could use the last command to see when the last time that user logged on. Last, what the heck? I'm having trouble with my VI. Last temp variable. So assuming temp variable has a user ID in it, it will run the last command for each user that's entered in that list of things. So I'll run that now. Enter user IDs. So I'll enter my user ID. Have some other user IDs I use for different testing. And I also have a test1 user ID, I think. So now it ran the last command for each of my users. So the first time it shows RBE000 is logged in quite a few times. This is where it ran it for the rest of the commands, but that wasn't very useful output. So if you didn't know what you're doing, that might be confusing. So you can go back into your for loop and you can put another entry in your for loop that says something like echo $temp variable last logins were. So now, if we run it again, it will put in some user IDs. It will print some extra words. So here it says RBE last logins were, and it prints my last logins. And then for my other user ID, there is no data, so no data exists for those users since September 20th. So trying to think if there's anything else I should show you at this point about how to use for loops, and I don't think I will, because this is really what we need for this part of this class. So I'll just stop right here.